Thank you so much for joining, Ashwini. It's a big pleasure. And
Thank you so much. And please continue to do this kind of um, service to the cinema world.
no, honestly,
Thank
like
you.
it is more than anything. It's a service to ourselves because, like, if not this, then what else would we be doing? Because मतलब
Right.
सबसे ज़्यादा आता भी यही करना है और सबसे ज़्यादा मजा भी इस चीज में आता है. So anything
Absolutely.
else we would be doing,
Yes.
वो disservice होगी अपने आप को.
Yeah.
So it's almost like that. But yeah. But Ashwini, acha, so because on the Hindu Cinema podcast, I mean, the first question, एक मेरा template question है that I always start with. I want to ask that to you as well. The films that have had the deepest influence on your life, the films that have shaped your experiences, चाहे वो एक film हो, दो film हो, या फिर एक type of cinema हो, लेकिन is there a film that's coming to your mind that has kind of had a deep impact on you?
Yes, a couple of them at various levels. Some maybe because they touched me in a very personal level, or some because it's just that the direction and I just like that cinema. So
Yeah.
for me, I'm a big fan of David Fincher. So the kind of cinema he makes and how he keeps improving himself in each and every
Hmm.
film. Like he
Yeah.
goes and he directs a social network. At the same time, he has also made a girl with a dragon tattoo.
Yes. Yes.
So that's the kind of range he has, and so I really follow his work,
Hmm.
and so there are some movies which I really like of him, and because of the what work he does. But if you ask me what films touched me, it would be Goodwill Hunting. It would be Pursuit of Happiness, of course.
Hmm.
I like Emily because for what was told and how it was told,
Yes.
with respect to in the silence also there was a lot of storytelling, and even in the
Hmm.
music there was a lot of storytelling. Then when it comes to our films, I like Woody Allen's Midnight in Paris also, because that is a very different kind of story.
Yes.
When it comes to ours, I like Sai Paranjpe's film, I like Basu Chatterjee's films, I like um, of course, Satyajit Ray goes
Hmm.
without saying, especially Apu Sansar, and even Kabuli Wala. I think that is something which I would watch again and again.
Hmm.
Um, uh, and correct me if I'm wrong when I tell the name of the films, because I kind of sometimes forget the correct name of films. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, Masoom.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Absolutely.
uh, I also like Abhiman a lot. It's, I think, one
Hmm.
of my most favorite
I
films.
saw that you were talking about it in another interview as well.
Yes,
About Abhiman. Yeah.
because I think on a various level it talks about a lot of things. So yeah, there are so many.
Hmm.
There are a lot of Tamil films which I really like,
Hmm.
Malayalam films which I really
Right.
like. Um, So in Tamil, I still will never forget Maniratnam's Anjali with Revati ma'am in it. And for me,
Yes.
that one of a kind film, which no one really asked what was a box office or what was. For me,
Hmm.
stories are that where you forget what was a box office number and it just talks about the story and you just remember it because you just want to remember that story for life. And cinema should be for archives, should be spoken about where after I'm gone. So that's what cinema does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Right.
I mean,
Right.
it's. I mean, I'm very happy that you specifically spoke about this because my next question was going to be about what you think, what for you personally is the purpose of cinema. How do you look at cinema? In the context of everything of this socio-political just landscape of the world of the country. How do you look at cinema personally? Is it more like a medium of catharsis for you personally while making films also, or is it something else? Is it something greater for you? How do you look at it?
For me, cinema is a form of expression to tell your stories which you believe in. For me, cinema is also entertaining my audiences, is because audience do come, humans do come to a cinema hall or to watch
Hmm.
cinema to entertain themselves for 2 hours, to forget everything outside, and I get them to a world where they they are with me in that 2 hours, and they want to experience. So whether they want to experience in terms of laughter, they want to experience in terms of sadness, they want to take back something with them, they want to aspire, inspire, they want to laugh, they want to hate me also for some time. They want to take sides to characters, and they want to question me that why did you use this character in a certain way. I think that's what cinema does. And cinema for me is beyond the box office. Cinema for me is beyond what numbers you make. For me it is it is also, for me, the actor getting into the character and being known for the character, and not being known by the name, the original name. For me
Yes,
it's
yes.
that. And for me, uh, cinema is for the archives, that way after I'm gone, people should remember my stories. So uh, today, even after so many years, if people still talk about Nil Battey Sannata, that is something which makes me feel very happy, makes me feel very satisfied, is because no one ever asked me what was the box office numbers of Nil Battey Sannata, but people do remember who Chanda is, people do remember who Apu is, and people do remember whenever they see it on television, or it has been shown somewhere to children. I do get a call saying that, we are seeing your movie. So that is something I feel is important, is that when I introduce myself, um, they know me because of my movies and not because of my name or who I am. That doesn't
Right.
matter.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So when you speak about all these characters in your cinema, and I have to say this, that a lot of the characters in your cinema are very personal to me, because they seem like such complete human beings. They're not cinematic in the sense they're not larger than life. There are certain flaws in them which I find very relatable. So when you do this, when you sort of create a micro focus on characters, creating such personal conflicts, and then you just place them in the larger world, is that something that you do very consciously to take the audience into your confidence, or is that a conscious choice you're making in terms of how you're branching out with all the characters, such different characters, ordinary conflicts but so very human conflicts?
Yeah.
I do feel that all of us as human beings are very small, like very small elements in the larger scheme of the universe, and each one of us have our own struggles in our everyday life, and each one of us has a story to say. So when I get all my characters are not individualistic, they are formed because of the circumstance
Circumstance.
and various other characters which kind of weave in and become one.
Hmm.
So it is always a dominoes effect. So that domino effect cannot be surreal. It has to be, if I'm telling a story which is based on reality, and I'm showing real characters and giving it a form of fiction and giving it the frills of cinema, then I need to make sure that my characters are flawed like any one of us. May not be applying lipstick and eyeliner while sleeping at night, and would be as normal as everyone could be, but with a elevated sense of design and cinematic approach. I do want my characters to flow into each other. It is almost like growing a tree where the roots are as important as the bark is as important as the leaves that grow, and the leaves have to dry off for new leaves to grow also. So it is a chain reaction, and without the sun and water and the changing climate cycle, human behavior also changes. So for me, that all is very important. So every time I write about characters and I develop characters and I show them on screen, I go to the ground reality, like to the bottommost reality check of what that person is and the backstory. Therefore, for me, psychology of a character, to understand human intelligence, to understand everything around him or her, is very very important. And to also understand who their surroundings are, because
Yes.
surroundings always make the atmosphere, the surrounding always would have an impact on
Yes.
the human being.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely. What drew you towards this particular story in the one in Ankahi Kahaniya?
So the brief which came from Ronnie Screwval, Ashidu, and Netflix was that we needed to tell a story on love, but interpreted in a very different way. And we wrote it during the pandemic. And so Piyush Gupta, who's one of my co-writers, had this one-line thought of loneliness and a person, and what love would interpret be for that human being. And we were going through a very weird time during the pandemic. All of us, at various levels,
Right.
were losing loved ones, and there was a sense of loneliness which was seeping in. And in spite of people being around, there was still a sense of loneliness. So
Yes.
tapping on that idea, along with Nitesh and Shreyas Jain, they
Yeah.
co-wrote it. And I did feel that it was a very important topic of conversations, is because we all are attached to some kind of unknown object.
Right.
And and it's only between you and that object. And it reminds me of why a doll or a soft toy was given to you when you were young. And that time no one questioned you, is because you were still talking to that uh, doll, or to that teddy bear. Or why car was your best friend. And why would we still be very attached to some things which we have long forgotten? Why am I still attached to my first watch? Or why are we still attached to, in this growing day and age, where the consumer behavior is changing a lot due to the technology advances.
Yes.
And even if you go to a restaurant, you would see when two people are meeting each other, they're actually not talking to each other, they're on the phone.
Right.
And you would have noticed
Right.
this thing, is that's how technology seeps you in, that you have lost human connection, that you do not have the patience to listen. And we take, but even while eating food, we either have a phone in our hand, you're watching something on the phone, or we are watching TV while eating food. And sometimes also the city, the environment, like I said before,
Right.
the environment is what makes a character what he or she is. And the environment here is the city life, is about dreams, it's about aspirations, it's about moving fast so much that you sometimes forget that where you came from and what you really want. And to also question, do you actually want this, or
Right.
what do you want?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that time
Right.
there is no one to listen to you.
Right. Right. So in this particular, I mean, this particular thing that you've just spoken about, that there's so much loneliness in people, and there's technology that's just sort of coming in between our conversations, distancing us from each other. There's a lot of personal conversation in your cinema, in terms of there's a lot of one-on-one conversation, which for me is a little,
Mm.
it's very human. Again, it's very human. And
Yeah.
I find that very special. So is that something that you're doing very actively to counter the sort of technological angle that we now have to love stories,
Yes, I
or to
mean,
human connection?
even if there's a lot of madness going on in the film, but there'll be like one moment
Yeah,
of
one
tenderness
scene where
where
they just exchange, they have a heart to heart, and the audience is automatically, drawn to that because, yeah,
Oh wow, that's a nice thing you guys notice. Is yes, I like discipline in chaos, and I like quietness in chaos. So I think it's very important to have a quiet mind even when you're in a chaotic world. So it is important to
right,
keep that equilibrium always. And otherwise you cannot be in such a fast paced life and still be normal. It's not possible. So I try getting that through my films, is that you have to stay in this world, but then how do you be sane enough to stay in this world and coexist? And that coexistence will only come when you cut off certain elements of which creates distress, and go back to your very being, which is your roots. So yes, it all sounds very philosophical, but then when you're actually filming and when you're actually showing that on screen, there you will all have, like Hindi में कहते हैं ठहराव moments हमेशा रहेंगे. You will always have your ठहराव moments there, the moments of stillness, which will actually allow you to just step back a bit and look at your life as a
from
cinema.
a distance.
Yeah.
Right.
from a distance. So that's what it is, and that's what human endeavors are. Otherwise, we would not have so
Right.
many yoga courses, or so many mindfulness courses, or so many retreats or staycations right now.
Right.
It's because
Yes.
the realization is that or we would not have many people who are shifting back to
Mm.
to what they believe in, how they want their life to be led as. So
Hmm. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Also, one more thing that I thought was extremely interesting about this film is that, again, we were just talking about your filmography and the other three films that you made before this. Teeny, the three films that you made before this.
yeah, if you count by four, Malayalam film, then four. Yeah.
Yeah, the Malayalam,
Tamil
yeah,
film,
right,
then
right.
four. Yeah.
But even then, like all the films that you've made, they've all been in, I mean, they've not been metros, right? They've been in small towns or relatively small towns. They've been set like the main setting was there, but this is the first film that is set in like a metro like Bombay. But of course, you aren't exploring the parts of Bombay that have been explored before or we generally associate Mumbai with. You know, it's a very different. You're exploring Mumbai from a very different lens. So, how was that experience like for you for the first time shooting in the city that you live in, and like especially that city being a metro as opposed to the other smaller towns, so to say, that you've shot in before?
It's not like I've not shot in Mumbai before, is because I've done a loads of ad films in Mumbai.
No, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
but
I understand the
basically,
character coming in from there.
yeah.
For me, choosing a setting and choosing a place, and what that place speaks to you, uh, and what I get it out on in cinema is very, very important. So most of the time the setting speaks to me a lot, and here Mumbai city was speaking to me in terms of what I wanted to show on camera,
Hmm.
and what I wanted my audience to interpret. So the fast-paced life of Mumbai, the kind of loneliness people stay in, if you even see that his where he stays, you guys have watched the
Right.
film, right?
Right.
Yes, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So where he when you go to his hometown is bigger than his house in Mumbai.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
those are the kind of you would see that even the camera angles are more claustrophobic here in Mumbai, whereas outside it's very open.
yeah,
You
wide angles.
yeah, so even so there are a lot of interpretations and metaphorical ways of showing. It's like he's not staying in the house when he's thinking, he's going out of his house and sitting by the dockyard to 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 reminisce and to be um
Right. To
to
just
get
process.
some fresh air.
Yeah.
So that's how it is. So and also the routine, and versus what you where you came from, those things will always try dominating you in your storytelling. And that is very important, is because he takes food out from the restaurant, but one day the restaurant is closed and he doesn't have anything to eat, is because everything is shut. That will never happen otherwise. If he was in his house, is because he would have his family to take care of him.
Right.
So the whole idea that in spite of being around everyone, in spite of being such a busy city, you're still alone.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Ahuna, you had a very interesting question about the male characters.
The male characters. Yes, I was just going to ask that. So specifically in Bareilly Ki Barfi, also in Panga, you have these male characters who are very supportive, very non-judgmental, and that is so refreshing to see on screen as a female viewer. It is so, I'm so grateful for those characters, because these are characters that I know that the support comes from a genuine place. It's not a show. This support comes from a very genuine place. So as a filmmaker, as a filmmaker who's creating these very different male characters from what we have seen conventionally in Hindi cinema specifically, what are the kind of male characters that you want to see more of in cinema?
I do feel that the characters which I'm trying to portray is something in need of a changing society, and what like I would like to convey. And if I have my audience watching it, like you said, if I have my audience watching those characters, I would feel that if sometimes the guy says that, you know what, I would like to be that husband so that I can even support my wife, or the wife says that I would, or the wife says that I wish my husband was like this and maybe I should talk to him, or a girl who is not married yet, or who's looking for a guy, or who's dating someone, would say that that these are the qualities I would like to seek in the person I would be eventually spending my life with. Or so the characters have to somewhere aspire or inspire you, and that's what I feel my male characters need to do. So they can be villains, but ultimately the villains have to also have a turning point in them, because not like we discussed before, not all uh, characters cannot be flawless, so they would be flawed, and you would
Absolutely.
have all your eccentricities which will come in. But
Right.
I do like to portray something which I would like to see in a changing society.
Right.
And
Because
a develop,
particularly in
yeah.
right. Because particularly in Bareilly Ki Barfi, what I found very curious was when Ayushmann Khurrana is training this other guy to throw off the girl, he teaches him to be more masculine, which is the exact opposite of what happens usually. You become more masculine to impress someone. Here it's just becoming more masculine to throw her off, which is such a great spin on this conventional trope of, you know, a man trying to impress a girl, which is it's beautiful. And I was very curious as to how you have done that also through the film, because as a viewer, when I was watching it, I wasn't very conscious that it's not being fed to me. It's very smooth like that. And how did you manage to do that so smoothly?
Uh, I don't know. Maybe that's a very difficult question to ask. I try to analyze characters and keep keep writing them in terms of what would be their backstory, what would be the kind of person he or she is, what would be their star sign, what would the kind
Right.
of clothes they
Right.
wear, and if we had to how would he or she be with their parents, or how would be they with their friends, or what kind of person he or she is. Would he like some lone time, or would he be someone who would have too many friends? Is he an extrovert, is he an introvert, is he someone who talks a lot about himself, or someone who only first thinks about himself and then moves on to the others? There's so much, and that you would see in Rajkumar Rao's character and in Ayushman's character,
Right.
or even in Jesse Gill's character as Prashant in
Yes.
Panga. So those qualities would come in, and you have to start questioning that what is the. So it's almost like a mind map you kind of do to go
Right.
back to the basics. So I do all that, and those are some things which I keep it to myself, and it's only when you are talking to your actors. I talk a lot to my actors, and try to get them on the
Right.
same page as me in terms of what I am looking out for them in their journey as
Right.
a certain character.
Right. Right.
Okay, okay. So on that note, thank you so much, first of all, Ashwini. It was a big, big pleasure. Unfortunately, we have to wrap. We have crossed our time limit, but this was such a big
We
pleasure.
can do it another time, one more time.
Yes, yes, please. I would love that. I would love that.
Absolutely. Yes.
I'll get in touch with you, and I hope we can kind of have a bigger conversation again.
Yes,
But thank you so much. It was a big pleasure. We are big fans of yours, and yeah, congratulations on the film, and all the best for its release.
thank you, thank you. All
Thank
the
you.
best, and please don't stop this. Okay, so keep
Yes,
doing your work.
yes, for
Thank
sure,
you so
for
much.
sure. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank
Bye.
Take
you.
care, Shani. Bye bye.
Bye.